guys?
Hey!
Welcome to episode 3 of Live Light. Make sure you guys are connected with us on social media. First, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Hit that little bell so you get notifications every time we drop new content. Make sure you like us on Facebook, Live Light. Make sure you follow us on Instagram @_live.light. And if you need morning inspirations every morning, make sure you text Live Light to 94090. Nadia get you right every morning around like 9. She gets you right every morning. So make sure you're connected on at least one of those platforms. If you're new to us,
So if you're new to us, we are Live Light. This is our journey to unpacking the heavy stuff. You know, sometimes we go through life, well, we all go through life, and we pick up things. Some of the things are for us to keep and learn from. Some of the things are meant to process and get rid of. I mean, like Pastor Latoya always says, you gotta chew the meat and spit out the bones.
period.
So this is just our process of doing this. So a quick recap before we get into the meat of the video. So last time we talked about boundaries and self-love.
Yep.
So a boundary is pretty much a line in the sand that says, okay, this is how much I'm willing to take. This is how much I can tolerate. We set boundaries with other people to say, so we can keep our integrity and they can keep theirs as well. And we also have to set boundaries with ourselves so we can properly love ourselves.
Yeah. 3. So basically this episode, we're gonna dive in and give you guys kind of specific real moments of where we did not set boundaries. Whether it was in within family or whether it was in relationships or whether it was just ourselves. Today we're gonna be a little vulnerable. And tell y'all some stories about sometimes we weren't vulnerable, and our hope is that you kind of can identify and you kind of can pull out some strategies that you can apply for yourself, and understand like it is extremely vital to set boundaries. All right, so the activity that we did this week, it was called 10 Ways You Had Me Messed Up. So basically we made a list. First off, we went back into our baggage. We pulled out a moment that we needed to unpack. In that moment, we identified, the person that we had like ill feelings towards, and then we wrote them a letter. So it was 10 ways that they had me messed up. And so in that letter, you like identified the exact moment. So it was really tough because like we had to go back into like literally like I could smell the smells. I remember the songs that was playing in the background. Like you really had to go back into those moments. Put yourself back into them shoes when they had you messed up. And then be honest with what happened in the moment and then be honest about how you felt. So this video is basically us diving in. We do have some benefits, some things that we learned about ourselves from doing this. It was really helpful. Disclaimer, trigger warning. We will talk about like domestic abuse in this video, so there's your trigger warning. Also warning, if you do decide to do this activity, please have a trusted accountability partner.
Please.
Because going back into some of the baggage that we have it's beneficial definitely, but the process can be hard and you don't want to do this process alone.
No.
So find somebody that you trust that'll hold you accountable, that'll also push the truth out of you, help you not hide behind feelings. Like we would just be like, I was pissed because of this. What is pissed? Were you angry? Were you disappointed? Were you let down? Were you abandoned? To really dive into this, because being able to really dive into the emotions that you felt really helps you process so that you can live light. Because I felt lighter.
I definitely felt lighter.
Yeah, I felt lighter. All right, so let's go.
I guess I'll start. Okay, so a time where I didn't set boundaries that I need to exercise for was with my family. So it's almost been 2 years. My grandfather went into the hospital. It was during the summer, so I was working. My father works, my uncle works, and my grandmother doesn't drive. So my grandfather literally, he walked into the hospital till a week or so later, needed help breathing. So during this time, it was difficult because I was at the hospital every day. Because like I said, my father was working and my uncle was working. My grandmother, she would come to the hospital when she had somebody to bring her to the hospital, which was pretty much every day. But but it was put on me to have to talk to the doctors. Mm-hmm. So they would say, okay, Nadia, ask this question. Let me know what they say, and I would have to get what the doctors were saying, understand what they were saying, and like relay the information to everybody. Ooh. And then it was tough because I was working too, so I was like, oh crap, like sometimes I have to call in, okay, I'm gonna be a little late because I have to talk to this doctor. And then 2 weeks later, I had school. Ooh. Like it was my first semester at UNCW. Ooh. It was crazy because I was trying to get like acclimated with the campus and get like to know my professors and stuff of that nature, and make sure like I had the foundations of every class down, and still like going to the hospital every day, making sure like I knew what was going on with my grandfather, that everybody else knew what was going on too. And then the hurricane came. Oh, yeah. And so we had classes, the hurricane, and he's in the ICU. Yeah. So that on top of everything, which is hard. Like I did horrible that semester. Like it was ridiculous. And then when my grandfather passed, I said, okay, I'm gonna do something for me. I'm gonna take some time for myself. The weekend of his funeral, everybody came in. Like family from everywhere came in. But for me, I said I don't really want to be around anybody. Girl, why did somebody tell me I was selfish? Ooh, they said, you have family here that wants to see you, so you're not being around is selfish. Ooh. I've been here I was at the hospital every day. Yeah. Every day when nobody else was there. Yeah. Okay, so fast forward. There was one time I really knew that I didn't have any boundaries when I had to go into the doctor. Mm-hmm. And like during this whole time, like none of my family looked at me and was like, are you okay? Mm-hmm. Do you need anything? So I had went to the doctor and I sat down and she looked at me like in my eyes, she was like, Nadia, are you okay? Like what's going on? Because like the way your physical health is going, like I can tell like something isn't right. Yeah. And I gave her the whole little speech. You know how you get the doctor. Mm-hmm. But they already know. I want to get it together, you know, things are ironing out. You know, my grandfather passed, so you know, I'm getting back into the groove of things. Mm-hmm. Girl, I got in the car and lost it. Like I was crying. Yeah. So I had went to go see my father, and I was telling him, you know, I was like, Dad, you know, I really don't want to go to the the family holidays. Like I really don't want to be around anybody. It just doesn't feel like natural. It's my first big holiday without my grandfather, and I was like, I just can't be around anybody. He looked at me, he said, Nadia, you need to go because you don't want to be selfish. Ooh. Because there's people that really want to see you. Yeah. What? That's true. I completely lost it. I was like, you know, I'm tired. Yeah. I'm tired of having to be there for everybody. I'm tired of having to always show up. Like, nobody has asked me, like, am I okay? Am I doing good? Like, I'm sick of it. I get the burnt into things, and I'm having to catch things so they don't drop for people. Mm-hmm. I'm over it. And so it was at that moment where it was like, after that, like I had gotten in the car, I had left, and I said, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, I'm taking some time out for me. I'm not going to show up. Because I felt like everywhere was pulling me, and when I did go to the places where I felt refueled, I was told I was doing too much. Ooh. Like, because for me, my safe place is church. So when I felt like family was draining me, I would always run to the church and be like, okay, well, I can sit here for a little bit. I was told going to the church all the time was doing too much. I didn't know anything else. Right. So I said, okay, I'm going to just withdraw from everything for a little bit. And so that taking time out for me, like, that was the starting point in my boundaries. Like now I can look at my dad and say, well, no, I can't do that because I have to do X, Y, and Z. That's good. Or I look at, like, my mom already knows, like, okay, Mom, I've reached my capacity. Mm-hmm. Like I have no more to give. Like that's my word. I've reached my capacity. Yeah. Like once I reach my capacity, there's no more pouring out of me. Yeah. Like overflow has stopped. Literally. You about to get trash now. Overflow has stopped, and I don't want to give you the worst part to me. Yeah. And what happened was I ended up giving them the best part to me, and I left myself with the worst part to me. Ooh, that's bad. So I don't want to get the worst parts of me neither. Right. So I'm gonna just step back and chill. Yeah. But sometimes you have to have a season of selfishness. True. And it's not really
to some people it seems selfish, but to you it's really just a moment to regather or re-anchor yourself. Like sometimes you have to sit back and realign your boundaries because in that moment, like that was a huge moment in your family. Like that was a huge life moment. So it's hard to set boundaries in that moment because ultimately it's like, well, I don't want to let my granddaddy down, so I gotta be here for him. So it's hard when you're taking on that pressure as well. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do in the moment, and then you gotta step back and you gotta go like, all right, what can I do differently? So that's good. So what else would you say is helpful when it comes to setting boundaries with family?
Being honest with yourself, and being consistent in your boundaries. Because I know for me, like a lot of times what will happen is I'll be like, okay, well this is okay for now, but next time when this happens, I'm not gonna do it anymore. It doesn't work. Because once I become inconsistent in my boundaries, that inconsistency is just gonna keep on going.
Because they'll try to guilt you.
Exactly. And just know, like, with family it is hard because it's like that's your blood and you want to show up.
Right.
But just know, like, if I show up now, what's gonna happen afterwards?
Right.
Like, is me showing up now gonna like make me or make the family feel worse afterwards?
Right.
Like, if I can't give you my best, I don't want to really give you much of anything at all.
Right. Because even in that moment, like you were still grieving.
Sure.
And you don't, like, you had to protect yourself because who's to say somebody said something and you flew off the top and now you hurt them. So now you got bigger injury.
Without boundaries, it took me way longer to process and grieve than was supposed to. Like, my grandfather has been going, this January was a year. I can say I probably really didn't start grieving him until November of last year.
Okay.
So it took me a good, 8 to 10 months to like really figure out like where I could put my boundaries so I can say, okay, well this is how I feel. So it's just giving yourself that space and it's giving yourself the grace to be human. Because I know for me I had that superhero complex where I had to show up.
Same.
So you have to give yourself the grace to be human and to feel and to be confident. You have to be confident in your relationship with your family. Like, okay, I know that they might be upset right now, but after I get to where I need to be, when I come back, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
And if it's not okay,
it will be.
That just means they didn't necessarily care.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Or they just don't understand yet. Because I remember I had a conversation with my sister and I had to explain to her, like, she was like, well, maybe you're being selfish in this moment. And I was like, honestly, I don't want to give you the worst of me. And I'm not at a good place right now. Like, and I need this moment to get myself together. And eventually they really do understand. Like, but consistency to your boundary that's good, sis. That's key. That's key because they'll say it all. Okay?
Girl, my grandma looked at me and said, your grandfather would be upset at you because you did that. My grandfather had proper boundaries, so I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's vital. It is vital because it'll drive you crazy. Especially in moments like that when you dealing with grief and then they trying to guilt you and then you trying to do it with your own personal life.
True.
Because if you start filling out of classes, who's gonna pay for them?
Absolutely nobody. I mean, even though I'm going to school for free, ain't nobody gonna pay me for my time.
They're not, sis. That's good. That's real good.
You ready for yours?
No.
Story time again.
No. Okay, y'all. So, first of all, if you see me look at my phone, like I got notes on my phone. Alright, so let me take you back to 99, 2000. Nah, let me chill. Let me take you back to 2015-ish. I went to the illustrious East Carolina University, y'all. I was a pirate. I loved my life at ECU. Like, it was the best of times and the worst of times. But I met this guy, and I thought he was the sun, the moon, the air, the stars. Now, at one point, I might have saved his name in my phone as like my oxygen or something. Like, I was deep. Like, I was gone. Okay, gone. What I say? Gone. I was gone. All right. So it was the sun, the moon, the air, and the stars. He was good. And for a while, we were good for each other. But what I know now, is that, like Pastor Cedric taught us, he said, some people have the mindset of that their significant other completes them, and that's really, really dangerous because that means that you're not whole and you're dependent on a human being that is fallible to fill a place, and that is way too much power to give a person. So that was one problem that we had. We were both two unwhole individuals coming together. So we did this assignment, 10 ways you had me messed up. Alright, so I'm gonna take you to the first way. The first way, he had me messed up. We got into an argument, he grabbed me, he was like, shut up, like going off on me. So after that moment, like, I was really tripping. Like, I was tripping hard because my father has this thing about the word shut up. Like, he does not like that word. Like, I used to get in so much trouble for saying that word to my little sister. Like, he would, like, put a car over on me, okay? So my father set a standard of how you should allow people to talk to you, and he was really big on that. You don't like, I would get in trouble. If a grown adult came to me and said to me, talked to me in a different way that he didn't approve of, I would get in trouble for not defending myself. So he set that boundary for us, or taught us how to set that boundary of not allowing people to talk to us crazy. So he told me to shut the F up, and he going off on me, he grabbed me, and I'm trying to process it. So I'm talking to my friend, and I was like, girl, like, he told me to shut up, like, my own daddy don't tell me to shut up, like, I'm going off. And I'm like, and he put his hands on me, like, I think I'm done. In your right mind, you're like, yeah, like, I'm done, I'm not sticking around for that. But she talked me off the ledge. She was like, girl, like, he was just angry, like, she talked to him, she's like, don't put your hands on her no more, and he apologized, and it was good. So we went on, and then I realized something about myself with the second one. He had me messed up when we would get in arguments, and he wouldn't let me leave. I'm the type of person where I value my right to leave a situation, and I value my space. Even Nadia, what I tell people, Nadia?
I can leave at any moment. And if you leave me, my daddy gonna come.
My daddy will come and get me at any given moment. Like, everybody knows that about me. So I will. That's kind of like it's honestly a defense mechanism. Is what I learned in this situation. Like, I tried to make it cute and say I value my personal space, which is true. But I also have this defense mechanism where I will escape the situation because I'll get so angry and I won't know how to process my anger, and I get scared of how I'll process. So that's why I usually try to fight in certain situations. So in that situation, I wanted to leave and he wouldn't let me leave. He stood in front of the door and he's fussing, screaming, yelling. And at this point, like, I'm irate. Like, I remember being, like, delusional, like, just screaming to the top of my lungs. Like, it was crazy. It was madness in there. I don't want to say he threw the TV at me, but the TV did fall on me. The dresser fell. My debit cards, my license, my student ID, everything got cut up. And it was really bad. Like, it was really bad. And finally, it got to a place that he let me leave. And I called my cousin. My cousin came and got me. And so I went home. And so I'm really thinking, like, I felt scared. And I try to be a really strong person. I try to manage a lot. I try not to be weak. I think, like, I just have this thing about feeling weak. If I feel weak, I try to charge whatever happened to the game. But I felt scared. Like, that was the first time in my life where I couldn't leave a situation, and then my emotions were all out of control. And then it was like the pieces it left. And I think waking up the next morning and seeing my cards cut up, because you know how sometimes you can charge something to the game and you try to believe, like, okay, it's whatever, like, it wasn't as deep as I remember it being. But when it was like, I'm trying to go to cookout and I gotta wait for the credit union to send me a new card because my cards are in pieces. It's like, nah, baby, it's a little deeper than you want to believe. The next way he had me messed up. Y'all, this one is rough. This moment really kind of broke me down. Because I had to realize, this week I realized that I loved him, and I had to grieve the fact that I never got a chance to. You know how you have your first breakup and you cry and you eat your ice cream and you have that moment? I didn't have that moment because he broke my arm, and it just happened so abruptly, and I had to, like, cease contact, and I never had a moment to grieve the fact that I loved him. So in this moment, I realized that love, ooh, Jesus, it gets you in some situations. So this particular situation, he came and picked me up from class. For whatever reason, I had this complex where I didn't want to get on the bus. Like, I was too good for ECU transit or something. I don't know. So the man would come and get me from all of my classes. And this particular day, this man was was like 3 hours late. Like I was tripping. Like he was late. And so like I got in the car and I'm fussing. Like, where you at? Where you been? Da 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 da. Like, you know how it goes. And eventually he looked at me and he started fussing and he called me a bitch. And we all know, like, TV teaches you that when a man call you out your name, what you supposed to do, sir?
You better hit him in the face.
You better slap him. And let me tell you, I slapped him. And it did not end well for me. And the thing about this moment that was really interesting, one benefit from this from this assignment that I learned, is being able to really jot down like what happened really makes you get into the details. Because for me, this happened 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I was thinking like, okay, this situation was warranted because I was fussing, he called me out my name and I slapped him and I shouldn't have put my hands on him. That is true. That is true. I take responsibility for that. I should not have put my hands on him. But what happened next is the moment that I tried to shut out. And this is the moment that really, really was tough for me. Like I had to realize like there's a street in Greenville that I would completely avoid. Like I get really anxious and these were emotions of course that I didn't process. So after I slapped him, he pulled the car over and he was like, get out. And I was like, nah, like I ain't getting out. So he drugged me out the car on my hands and knees. I had on shorts, I guess. So I still had a scar on my knees and on my elbows. And so he drugged me out the car and this little kid, it was so sad. Like this little kid is on the sidewalk like watching this moment and I'm just like, wow, like we came to this. Because you know, sometimes like TV displays abuse as people like throwing you against the wall and punching you in the face. And sometimes it's not always that black and white. And sometimes it can there's gray areas where you feel like, well, I contributed to this, so it's not abuse. Nah, sis, like it's abuse. So he drove me out the car. I'm bleeding or whatever. And so at this point, I started to walk home. Now, my whole disclaimer about if you leave me somewhere, I'm gonna call my daddy and come get me. That didn't work in that moment because if my daddy would have came and got me, it would have been bad. Okay. So I charged it to the game and I said I shouldn't hit him and I walked home. 3 miles, took me 2 hours to get home. And this is the part where I felt weak. I really felt like a victim. Like I felt fragile. I was afraid. I was scared. It was the lowest I ever felt. Like it was really bad. And so what he would do is as I would walk, of course his car drives faster than me walking. He would turn around and keep following me. So people would pull over and like ask if I needed a ride, and he would like come like right behind the car. Like it was really a moment to show like how controlling and manipulative he was in the relationship. So eventually he left me alone and I walked home and I got home and this man is sitting on my bed and I went off like can you leave me alone today? Like enough is enough. Of course he didn't leave, he wouldn't let me leave. I got to fighting. The thing about him is like he didn't have that I'm not gonna hit you back type of complex. So even a play fight could easily turn into WWE. Okay, like he didn't mind throwing me across the room because you know I got a little hood in me. Like I like to fight with my uncles. I was like, fight me. Like what's good? Fight me. Like I used to tell people I fight men. I don't fight men no more. I learned my lesson. But in those moments, so we got back. I got back. We got a fight in. He threw me across the bed and I landed really weird. So like you know the metal part of the bed frame that's like underneath the mattress. That little piece, the metal piece, ended up in my back. So I ended up having to go to the hospital and I had bruised my rib and it was a whole situation. And he of course is crying, I didn't mean to do it, it's not that deep, blah, blah, blah. And so this is the moment too where I realized boundaries are important. And because in the beginning, like I never set boundaries. I was so fixated on the future. I was so fixated on the potential that he had. I thought I could pray away his anger and we would be good. No, boundaries is saying I'll pray for you from over here, but I'm not gonna keep letting you stand on my table. And I didn't have that. I wanted him in the room so bad. I didn't care if he was standing on the table, swinging from the ceiling fan. As long as this man was in my life, it didn't really matter what he did or how he treated me. Because in front of everybody, it kind of seemed picture perfect in a sense. We would dress up, we would coordinate for church, like we took cute pictures. Everybody loved us. His family loved me. My family loved him. Like, it was good until one day, I'll never forget, I was sitting at dinner. You know my Uncle Sam, right? So I'm sitting at dinner, we eating at the table, right? And my uncle was like, where did that scar come from on my arm? And so my ex get to shaking, boy. Like, he like, I don't know what she finna say. And I said, what you mean? He's talking about, I know you see it. Because at that point, like, it was still open. And I was like, so you know me, like, and I started telling the story, like I said it up nice. Alright, so like I was running, trying to catch the bus or whatever, and I missed the step and I fell. And you know me, they was like, yeah, you always fall in jail. I was like, dang, like. But so that's the story that I told, and that's the story that I began to believe for so long. Like, that's really what happened. And one thing I learned too about myself is that I'm extremely loyal to dysfunction. I was loyal to this man. I didn't take out papers. I didn't call my daddy on him. I tried to protect him even when he wasn't protecting me, because I was so like, I want to be ride or die. Like, I'm all for you. And in the end, that's trash. But the very last moment, I was just having a rough day. My dad was sick and I really just wasn't feeling it, and I just wanted to be by myself. And he wouldn't let me be by myself, and like, he cooked and he was nice, and I was like, thank you so much for this, but like, I want to be by myself today. And so he came home with me. He was like, I want to just be with you, make sure you're okay. So I'm laying in my bed, like, just trying to tune him out. He's like steady trying to like talk to me, show me stuff on Facebook, and I'm just not in the mood. He was like, and I'm tired of you acting like, and he picks up the dog cage and dumps all the dog feces on me. And so in this moment, like, I'm counting to like 60 in my head. Like, okay, I said, you gotta go. Like, you got 60 seconds to get up out of here. You know who got me messed up? I just thought about this. My roommate got me messed up because she was in the house the whole time. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I just thought about it in a mid-story. Okay, back to story. All right, so I'm counting to 60 in my head. I think I got the 5, y'all. And, I don't know what happened, but everything turned red. And, I got to swinging, like, fight for your life swinging. Like, I felt like Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Like, if I would have had some grits in a pot, like, we was all popping in that room, okay? So I'm swinging. The story he told is that I was beating him up. This is what he told his friends, girl. I'm not gonna let her beat me up. Like, she was really beating me up. So I grabbed her by her arm, put it in a chicken wing, and I was just trying to restrain her from beating me up. I was flattered. I was beating you up, okay? But anyway, he puts my arm in his chicken wing or whatever, and next thing you know, my humerus, it breaks. And I can feel my humerus like moving around. I feel like Jello. Was really weird. And so then at that moment, like, everything seemed like it was going in slow motion. And I think the only thing I thought about, I didn't feel any pain at all. The only thing I thought about was, dang, I gotta call my mama. So I was thinking about what I was gonna tell my mama. And at this point, he crying. And I'm just like, yo, shut up. Like, I can't even move my arm, and you always crying. Like, I'm sick. I'm just going off, y'all. I'm going off. And so, like, he like, should we call the ambulance? And I'm like, I don't know. He was like, no. Like, I'm scared to go to jail. So he was like, I'll drive you, y'all. So he driving me to the hospital. Why he crying? At one point, I said, there is no reason for you to be crying. My bone moving around my arm, and you crying. Mm-hmm. Shut up. That's what I said. Y'all, I was real bad. Like, my mouth was horrible, but that's what I've been working on. So we good now. But anyways, so we get to the hospital. The police come in, and they're asking me questions, and he's shaking his boots, scared. And I'm like, I got you. Like, we good. We gonna work through this. Like, girl. So of course I protected him. My cousin called me. My cousin said, I just want to let you know, your mama and your daddy are on their way to Greenville. And I was like, shoot. Now my mom and daddy, they come together for graduations, if somebody's sick or somebody about to die. You know, the great life of being a child of a divorced family. It's fun. So they rarely ever come together at the same moment unless it's a really big celebration or something's wrong. So obviously something was wrong. And my daddy was livid. And I think, honestly, thinking into those moments, it was like seeing my daddy so hurt. Because it's like thinking back, like, my daddy set very, very high standards for how we should have been treated. Like, it was even to a point where certain hotels he wouldn't let us stay in because he didn't ever want us to, like, he didn't want a man to make us feel like, oh, they big and, you know what I'm saying? They high dollar. Like, my daddy already took me here. So it's like going back into those details and really seeing, like, all of the ways, so even when I would set a boundary, I wasn't consistent at all, like you were saying. I was constantly moving the bar just because I wanted him in the room. And that's the thing, like, that could have killed me. Like, somebody really had to sit me down and had to say, like, Angelica, like, you gotta realize that this situation could have killed you. Like, you're so loyal to this dysfunction, like, you're so stuck in trying to protect him, but baby, this could have killed you. And sometimes, like, it's really drastic to say, like, but setting boundaries, like, it's a life or death situation. Like, it's that serious. So just keep that in mind. If you're in an abusive situation, like, get out. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Even after that, like, he kept trying to reconcile. He was like trying to prove to me like we can still be together, and he had changed. And be really careful if you're in an abusive relationship, because sometimes you can try to say that you're okay because you're praying. Like, I'm praying, so we're good. Most of your prayers when you're in those moments are symptomatic prayers. They're like, Jesus, help him to stop being angry. Like, let my back stop hurting where he done threw me across the room. No. You really gotta not even said this thing to me the other day. She said her mantra for this year is not to abandon herself. And in those moments, you gotta realize, like, you can't abandon yourself. Like, when you gotta patch yourself up, when you gotta look at the bruises that you have, when you gotta go back and see the holes in the wall, like, those are the moments. Like, I was on the phone with Nadia on Sunday, and so this Sunday marks 4 years. So of course Google Photos does this thing where they remind you of all the pictures that have happened. And so I came across this video where he's beating on the door and he's like trying to break in my room, and I was tore up. Like, I was crying. I was a hot mess because for so long I let myself believe only certain parts of the story. I took so much responsibility that I didn't leave none for him. And it was in that moment where I realized that things were kind of bad. So yeah. Ooh, that was alright. Alright, let me go back to my notes, y'all, because that got me messed up for a second. Alright, so there is one other thing that I've learned going through this, is that it's imperative to go back into these moments and, like, iron out, like, what happened, how you felt, because if you don't, what'll happen in your new relationships is that certain things will begin to trigger those emotions inside of you. So what will happen eventually is that you'll begin to challenge the relationship, or you'll even begin to sabotage the relationship because you are trying to compare this situation to the old, not realize that old things are passed away and all things are new. So where you have done the hard work, where you have invited God in to change you, because you didn't go back into your emotions and check yourself, you'll begin to sabotage things that God actually had in place for you.
That's good.
So yeah.
That's really good. Don't bleed on the people who didn't cut you.
Say it again. Say it louder.
Do not bleed on the people who did not cut you. A lot of times, like she was saying, you go to a different relationship, and something will trigger you, and everything that cut is going to reopen because it was never truly healed.
Right.
And all of those emotions and all of those feelings that you didn't deal with are going to be put on a person who never knew anything about it.
Right.
So don't put yourself in a position where you're hurting your promise.
That's true. And also it's imperative to have good people around you. So at that point in my life, I didn't have the best set of friends. So where I would talk to them about certain situations, they would either like downplay my emotions or like it was intense. So it's very, 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 very important to have good friends. Like even now, like I'll tell Nadia, I'll meet a person, I'll tell Nadia about this person, and Nadia will say, okay, remember your boundaries. And I'll go on as time goes on, and I'll start telling her about conversations and things that have happened, and she'll say, oh, you remember your boundaries. Because your friends really, really help you remain accountable. Therapy helps too, especially if you're dealing with abuse, rape. Therapy is Man, it's worth it. It's an investment that is worth it. It's not always rainbows and sunshine.
If you don't walk away at least once every 3 sessions, I would say, angry with your therapist, let me tell you, I tell my therapist to leave me alone because I be like, okay, this is enough.
Right.
If you're not doing that, something is wrong.
Yeah. And you have to be, like, the thing that my grandma used to tell us is that God will keep you if you want to be kept.
True.
And being kept by God is being able to do the hard work. So being able to be honest with yourself, being able to show up for therapy, being able to be real with your therapist, being able to be open, to be accountable to your friends and to your support system. Like, there's help out there, and you just gotta be ready to accept it. And that's where you have to knock down the walls of fear. Like, you gotta walk. You can't do this. Like, you'll be nervous. It'll get tough, but you can't do this with walls.
True. And even with having friends who you're accountable, like with like emotionally and spiritually having friends that who I know I call Joe every so often, and she be like, "Nani, what's wrong with you?" And for me, like talking about my emotions is extremely difficult. And I'll be like, Joe, like I'm fine, like my favorite thing, I'm fine, like I'm okay. And she'd be like, no, Nani, like what's wrong? I'd be like, I'm okay. She'd be like, okay, well, since you want to keep on lying to me, and she's told me before, like she'll go pray for me. She'll be like, okay, Lord, like whatever she got going on, like you do what you have to do. And like I come back the next day or so and be like, okay, Joe, so I got this figured out. She'd be like, well, Jesus answered a prayer.
Yeah, because sometimes, and you have to understand, being in a friendship, you're not gonna always have all the answers.
No.
And sometimes you're just there to listen. You won't have the answers. You won't be able to figure it out. Sometimes we go through the same things at the same moment. If I can't fix my life, I definitely can't help her fix hers. So that's what I have learned, especially this season. Like, she'll call me and I'll be in my prayer closet. Y'all, I made a prayer closet and it's cute. But anyways, I'll be in there and I'm like, Nani, what's wrong with you? And she'll like, nothing. You can't lie to me.
There's no lying.
There's no lying in the prayer closet. And I'll get off the phone and be like, all right, Jesus, you heard her lie. So, so yeah, but it's a journey. You have to. It is so imperative to go back to the heavy stuff. Because there's no way I would have been ready for a real relationship if I had never processed my first heartbreak.
That's true.
Whether he abused me or not, I never processed it. So it's like going into that, and then you learn how to set new boundaries for yourself.
True.
So you learn what works, you learn what don't work. Big key in relationships, as we talk about relationships, don't be so fixated on the future and the potential of a person that you don't live in the moment and you don't see them for who they really are. You can't change a person's true colors. They'll show you who they are. You can't change them. And you have to accept them for where they are, and you set your boundary. You draw your line in the sand and you pray for them from a distance. Like, I know I said that before, but that's so imperative, because so many times I would try to pray and I would pray hard for God to like intervene and help me, when what I needed to do was call my daddy, get my stuff, and get up out of that situation. One thing I also learned, since we're talking about abuse in relationships, listen, what I'm about to say is, you need to text this to all your friends. How a man treats your mama is a really good representation of how he'll treat you.
True.
So if he yells, screams, and fusses at his mama, baby, he will yell, scream, and fuss at you. It'll actually be worse. So if you don't have respect for the woman that gave life to him, I don't know why you think this man gonna have the respect for you. And so many times I would sit and I would listen to him yell and scream and hang up on his mama, and I'd be like, dang. And let me tell you what's bad is that I started yelling and screaming and hanging up on my mama. And you have to be very careful about who you attach yourself with. Because not only do you help them, like you want to rub off on them, they rub off on you.
Because you are who you hang around.
That's facts. That's facts. So, there's Live Light episode 3.
Come on, unpack the heavy stuff.
Unpack the heavy stuff. It's not cute. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Most of the days this week, me and Nani was somewhere on the couch eating ice cream, or I was somewhere in my prayer room for hours, because I was like, Jesus, like I lived with this lie for 4 years. And it's eating me alive, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to process. But I learned one thing that we have said since video number 1, you cannot unpack this without God.
Mm-mm.
You
No.
can't.
It's vital because once you're like, when you're in the moment of unpacking the stuff, it's almost as if like His love, I'll just say for me at least,
Yeah.
when I'm in the moment and I'm unpacking the heavy stuff and it's like, okay, Lord, like I feel all of these emotions, but it's almost as if His love and His peace just kind of like overtakes you, like that scripture. It's really a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so having Him in the midst of like the struggle really and unpacking it like gives you that foundation of okay, Lord, like now that I've unpacked it with you, now that, because it gives you a moment to say, okay, Lord, this is where I am.
Right.
Like it gives you that vulnerable moment with
When
the
you
Lord.
take that mask off.
Here is me. Like
Yeah.
it gives you that intimacy with the Lord. Pastor
Yeah.
Cedric always says intimacy is really just into me see. So it lets you give the Lord a chance to really see into you.
That's good.
Because while He knows everything, He wants you to tell Him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's crucial. You gotta do it with Jesus. Yeah. Also in this process, you will begin to see ways that you had yourself messed up, and like this is imperative. Take responsibility for you, but don't take responsibility for somebody else's mess. Okay? Yeah, I shouldn't have called. Yes, I shouldn't have slapped that man when he called me out my name. But was it okay for him to drag me out in his car and follow me all the way home and then throw me across the room whenever I got back into my bedroom, my apartment? Was that okay? No. So be very, very careful. It is great to take responsibility, but you can't abandon yourself.
Do not abandon yourself in this season.
Yeah. But yeah, Jesus having God on your side, y'all, is the key. He's the GOAT. He's the one that will bear it all. Literally. His love is honestly a miracle. I love that song. Like He takes beauty for ashes, and joy for mourning, and pain and praise for heaviness. Like He will really take those hard things from you and give you something else. That's kind of, it's light. Like joy is light.
Yeah, that's the scripture. He said,
Yeah.
"Give me all those who are heavy burden, give it to me, and take my yoke, for it is easy."
Yeah. So you're not on your own.
No.
It's not like going through this is really He really sitting right there like I was waiting for you to get that back to me. That's all. Like that's kind of the conclusion that I came to this morning. Like He was like, I was just waiting for you to say like, okay, God, like I don't want to carry this anymore. So yeah, Live Light episode 3. If you have prayers, you can text your prayers to 94090. Those messages come straight to our phones.
Yes.
So we will pray with you, keep you in prayer. We have already been praying
Definitely.
for everyone that watches this video. Whether you're having issues setting boundaries within your family, you're having issues standing up for yourself, or whether you're in an abusive relationship, or maybe you're in a relationship that you need to go ahead and clock out of. So we got you. Yeah. Boundaries over compromise.
True. Boundaries over compromise. That's good.
You said it.
That's
good. Like,
you know how like you hear it back to yourself, and it's like,
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, if you're watching this video and you're like, okay, what next? I would say pray. Because that little feeling that you have, it feel like, I would have felt like, how you explain that for me?
It's foreign.
It feel like you can feel it in your stomach.
Yes, it's like, okay, now it's like almost seeing the light for the first time. It's blinding. It's like,
and it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So if you're like me and you try to overthink yourself out of the situation, don't. Literally go in the closet and pray. Tell God straight up, this is how I feel. Like, if you gotta say, how could you let this happen to me? Whatever you need to do, be angry, scream, shout, be mad.
Feel how you need to
Feel how you need to feel, but baby, it's the perfect season to let it go.
Cause you're at home.
You at home, let it go. Make you a closet, shut yourself in the bathroom, sit down in the tub and let the water fall on you, in the shower and cry it out, and do whatever it is that you gotta do. But we're not gonna be 50 crying over things that happened to us when we was 20.
No, cause we got places to go.
Places to go, things to do,
People to see.
people to marry,
children to have, businesses to open. All of this. We
We
cannot.
got islands to vacation on, baby.
Period.
All right.
On the island.
A whole island.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, live life. Episode 3. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't even care if you like, comment, or subscribe. What I do care about is if you need prayer, if you need somebody to hold you accountable, reach out to us, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, really reach out to us. Cause we got you.
Yeah. So before we end the video, we just want to say like a quick prayer for everybody. So while you're watching, bow your heads, close your eyes. So Lord, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. Father, we thank you for the person that's watching this video. Father, we ask that, Lord, as they're watching the video and as they're going through their process, Lord, we thank you that their lives are changed, Lord, that they're healed, Lord, they're set free and delivered. Father, I thank you that you're a gentleman, so you don't push past what they're willing to do. But Father, I thank you that their heart is open for you to come in and penetrate their heart. Lord, I thank you that you give them the strength to be able to go through this process. Father, I thank you that you give them the peace to be able to deal with the emotion. Lord, I thank you that if they are in an abusive relationship, Father, I ask that you give them the strength to get out of the relationship. And Father, I ask that you give them the understanding to know that it's not about them, Lord, that it's about the other person. So Lord, I ask that as they're going through their process of getting out of this relationship, Lord, or even with family, Lord, separating themselves from their family, Lord, I thank you that your love just surrounds them. And Lord, that peace overtakes them.
Yeah. And Lord, your word says that all things are passed away. Old things are passed away and all things are new.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank you for this new season, God. We embrace this new season, God. We thank you for new relationships. We thank you for positive relationships, God.
Yes,
And God, we just pray that as we go through this process of living life, as we go through this process of unpacking the heavy stuff, God, that we can process and we can heal from the heavy stuff, God, so that we don't sabotage the gift of the new that you have given us, God.
Yes,
So God, as we walk this out, God, I bind fear right now in the name of Jesus, God. I bind depression, God. I bind anxiety. Your word says that you did not give us a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind, God. And I just pray that as anyone watching this, God, if they feel themselves falling into depression, if they understand and they see that their thoughts are going the wrong way, God, and they begin to think on the things that are pure.
Yes, Lord.
God, so we just pray your covering, your love, your protection, God, that just consumes them, God. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.